Hey guys, how's it going? This is Gum MVP back with my next video, and another highlight reel for you guys. So this video took a little while to make, and that's primarily due to the character taking so long to create. Now for a long time, it's really just been those two characters you saw, mostly Gum, who was using like halberds and things like that, and then there was Eori was his name, and he was using like the bleed stuff. So I had my quality build, I had my quality luck build. Um, and with the new patch, changing things like casting speed to all these miracles that you're seeing me throw about, I decided to make this character named Luna, and she is the Princess of Storms. Trademark that shit because that is who she is. Anyways, yeah. So here's my first video with her, and the soul level for this character right now is 96. Um, I did some PvP at level 80, I did a little bit at 60, and I didn't quite have the build that I wanted. Now I'm not done with this build, and it's probably not going to be done until I hit probably like level 120, um, because I only have, I think, 50 faith, and I'd like to get that up to 60. But what you're seeing on the screen right now is a lot of lightning storm and a lot of sunlight spears, and what I'm really trying to do is play sort of a Cassie build. Um, there is no reason, especially in Pontiffs, because this arena is so big and so wide, and trust me, I really hate playing on this map. This arena, if you will. Um, but there's not really much of a reason to approach if your opponent's not approaching. So having spells like this that don't have terrible cast times now that the patch changed them, um, is is actually kind of nice because I don't have to be the one always going in if I want to make the battle happen, you know. And I'm also still working out the kinks because I've never ever played a Souls game with like a longsword really. I've never really tried PvPing with the longsword, so when it comes to the actual knight tactics, if you will, swinging that sword, I'm still learning. But I still have good plays. Like that was pretty decent, I think, rolling in. Um, but anyways, yeah. So this build is going to be mostly lightning based. So lightning storm is super good, right? AOE has a really nice spread and honestly not bad damage. I really like it, and it also has. So I also have that. I have Sunlight Spear, which does a ton of damage, and you'll see me nuke people. I think I hit someone for like 700 plus damage, and I have rings that like power up my stats, right? So I have like the Morin's ring. I have the Son of the Firstborn, I believe that's called. I think that's the name of the ring. I also have Ring of Favor on, and one other that I can't remember, which I believe increases my casting time. But it's all based around kind of using these miracles now that they're kind of useful again. When Dark Souls 3 first launched, the only spells you saw were Pyromancy, especially at soul level 120. And while I'm only in the bracket of, 100 to whatever, I'm not quite in that 120 meta yet. Like, it's still like, it was still mostly Pyro. Especially as I had other characters that could PvP at that level. But with this patch, it brought so many new things. So you're seeing a lot more sorcery. You're seeing a lot more miracle builds, clerics, etc. And I just really wanted to get my hands dirty and just get going on it. And also, it's also nice to have new content for the channel, um, new kinds of PvP, if you will. But yeah, so this is my girl, and she's pretty sick. And now, if you're looking at my character closely, you see that glow gold. That's Tears of Denial. And say you're not a big Dark Souls 3 fan, but you like watching the videos, so you don't know what Tears of Denial is. It basically lets me die, and not die. So, like, say I have, say I get killed, my character will survive the hit, and have like no HP, so like the very next attack would kill me, but I'll survive the lethal hit. So like, what's really nice is in certain situations, like you'll see later in the video, I know that I can trade with my opponent for the kill. So say I have tears stacked on me, and my opponent swings and I swing at the same time, he knows I'm gonna die. Except if he's not paying attention to the fact that I have tears and we both swing and I kill him too, then he dies and I live. And you'll see it, and you'll see it a couple times. Tears of Denial is super efficient. I really love this spell, especially in PvP. Now I have, I think, like 28 attunement, or maybe I have 30 attunement now, but I think I was going for 30 attunement on this build. And that opens up, I think, 5 slots. So Tears of Denial takes 2. Sunlight Spear, I believe, only takes one, and then Lightning Storm takes two, or maybe I'm mixing those two up. But regardless, I can only really have three miracles on this build if I want to include Tears of Denial, because it's such a, and you'll see it later on, but it's an absolutely quintessential part of the build. It gives me so much support, especially in these corners right here. So what you just saw there was some hyper armor. So hyper armor is something that we knew extended to a lot of different weapons, different kinds of techniques and weapon arts and whatever. It basically lets you power through someone's attack and still do your own attack, right? Kind of self-explanatory there. But the Sunlight Talisman's weapon art, which is like, you know, like the skill of that weapon, and now the Sunlight Talisman is the thing that lets me cast the miracles. That weapon art lets me hyper armor through things if I hit L2. So if I just hit L1, you'll see a regular cast, which is what I just did. But if I hold down L2 and I pull down this longer cast, I hyper armor through anything. And it's really nice, especially when I know Lightning Storm and Sunlight Spear do so much damage. Like, fine, come swing at me with your sword. Not only are you going to get stun locked from my Lightning Storm / Sunlight Spear, but you're going to eat a lot of deeps, dude. So, again, it's a really fun way to play the game again. It's kind of been really mostly just casting the spells and fighting once they decide they want to approach. I wasn't able to do too much parrying with my small shield. And one thing that you have to recognize about the Llewellyn shield is that now that the parries mechanics have kind of changed, and especially in the metagame, right? Like, you're not really seeing as many Kestis parries now that it's a little more laggy and a little less useful. Having a Kestis in your offhand as opposed to an actual shield. You're seeing a lot more small shields, particularly the Llewellyn shield is, I think, the most popular. Honestly, probably just based on overall stability, and it shares the same recovery frames and startup as all the other small shields. So if you're going to use a small shield, the Llewellyn shield would be my recommendation, just because I believe it has like the best stability, and probably the best absorption too as well. But it is a small shield, so you cannot play turtley with it. You will get punished. But that's neither here nor there. Yeah, this build is interesting because the Sunlight Spear, it kind of retracts decently fast, like after the cast. And so like right there in the last one, I know we're kind of past it now, but like I cast the spear and he charges in and I'm already able to get the longsword R1 off. I'm still working on my, I guess, like learning how to use the longsword. Of course, it's not like a very complicated sword, but I'm still figuring out if that's indeed the weapon I want to use mostly with this build. I do like having like a quick swing, but I really don't know how well the longsword's damage is going to maintain at soul level 125. And the reason I say that is because my stats don't really couple with they're not really bringing a lot of scaling with the damage. So I don't really know how useful, how good the longsword will be, especially at the 120 meta. I have 14 strength and 14 dex, and honestly, if I don't find another weapon to kind of go with those stats, I could even potentially either bring those stats down or kind of move them around to find the new weapon. But really, basically, that's like the bare minimum for the red-hilted halberd, and that's what weapon I thought I'd be using the most. And I didn't go back in and optimize the build at all. Like, I'm not even soul level 100 yet. But, so right now, again, I have this plus 10 lightning longsword, and I really like it, but I'm not 100% set on it. So I think as I get closer to the soul level 120 meta, I'll know what I'm doing. But here's an example of me trading right here. So I knew he was winding up for that weapon art, and I knew if I did my weapon art, I would hyper armor through it no matter what and trade, and Tears of Denial guarantees my success. So right there, you really see the value of Tears of Denial, which is important. But, anywho, yeah, so this build's been pretty fun so far, and I hope you guys have been enjoying some of those duels, because it's a little less me trying to, get swings off and hits off, and it's a little more of me playing patient, using spells, not being the aggressor, and I guess just learning the game in a different way, between Dark Souls 1 PvP, which I've, got over 100 hours and whatever on. Dark Souls 2, which I have a couple hundred hours on. In this game, I've got a couple hundred hours on already. It's like, I've never really broken out of the, halberdy, weapony type PvP, it's always been like that. I wasn't really the guy casting spells. And here you see this guy dip out because he knows he's done. Um, but anyways, yeah, so it's kind of a new way for me to play the game, and I thought it would make a really fun bit of content for our YouTube channel here. So that's kind of why you see me do this here. But yeah, I guess I'm just glad the character is kind of close to being done. You know, I've got all my rings. I've got a good path with my stats, so I can like actually PvP at this soul level bracket and like have a really good time. You know. But yeah, and there you see some decent damage there from the Sunlight Spear. This weapon is so fun. I love fighting this weapon because it's so big and the swings are so predictable that I have a really good time like trying to roll behind, get some backstabs, you know, whatever. And these guys love to try to break your not break your hyper armor, but they love to swing on you when they know you're gonna hyper armor through things because they want to get that damage. But dang, dude, Lightning Storm puts in work on that build. But yeah. So I don't know. It's all kind of progressive. I think it's all kind of flowing with the patches and things like that. Honestly, the whole metagame is flowing with the patches. It's been so cool to see so many different unique builds. Even pyromancies are getting used a lot. Things like Boulder Heave. Even though I think Boulder Heave is still pretty bad. But there's a pretty good Lightning Storm combo with the Longsword, which I really want to be able to combo out of my Lightning Storm. So that's why a big primary reason why I've been sticking with the Longsword. I don't even know what I was rambling on before this, but but yeah. So that's kind of where I'm at on this build. Lots of Lightning Storm, lots of R1, and really just kind of fishing with these Sunlight Spears. But yeah, this duel was interesting because I caught him with that Sunlight Spear, and I didn't think I was going to, but it gave me like a decent life lead, and lets me not be afraid to take hits like that, you know? Now that was a bad Lightning Storm, and you'll see, even though that was like a max range hit, I was so far away that he had no business getting hit by that. That was just him not being prepared, and I think that playing at this soul level as opposed to playing with the real dogs at like soul level 120-ish, 125, 120, is going to kind of form bad habits probably. Like, this video might even appear kind of like, wow, he's just throwing out these spells. And that's very true. This was my very first session ever playing with any of these builds, or any of these spells. So like, you know, and while I did do some testing with them, I literally just turned the camera on and started recording. And this is, you know, this is the footage I got. And although, like, I did cut out, like, a bunch of stuff, a couple losses, things like that, I did have a pretty good win rate with this build. And I think it's just due to, A, people being unaware of Lightning Storm's range, B, people being unaware of Lightning Storm's power, and C, just, I guess just me not wanting to approach, right? That's the #1 thing about this arena. Is there is never a situation where you have to approach. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and can't wait to see you on the next video. Peace out, guys.